I'm just a project manager by profession. I started off as an urban planner. When senior professionals try to join into another organization, that's where they face the challenge. Are we only training them for the exams?
Right.
Or are we training them to go back and, perform in the professional world? I've always used an example in my class, which I probably say again. I think there are three kinds of employees, and I've always believed in this principle. They are the potatoes, the eggs, and the coffee beans.
Welcome to Red Talks. This is the first episode. And for the first episode, I had to bring Najmul Hussain, the founder of Red Learning, CEO.
Everything.
Yeah, welcome, Najmul Hussain.
Thank you, Madhi, for having us.
Yeah, let's get straight into it. I don't want to beat around the bush. Who was Najmul Hussain before Red Learning?
Well, I think to give a quick introduction, I'm just a project manager by profession. I started off as an urban planner that's my background. I'm a geologist. And I came to the UAE back in 1998, where I worked with an urban development company, a mapping industry, and slowly moved on to city development. I worked with Dubai South, which is fundamentally a government of Dubai initiative to set up the world's largest airport, the Al Maktoum International Airport. And I've been on the project for about almost 15 to 16 years, phase one, and slowly, moved into consultancy and engineering. As I was working, I realized that I was not able to speak the language that is the management language, the project management language, if you speak, because I was entrusted with projects and I felt a deficiency in the way that I kind of handled the subject, especially with regards to the structure and the framework. And I think it's a very common problem with most people who come from the technical background, that we are very good technically, but we are not great when it comes to the business side of things. And that's when I started, developing an interest for studying frameworks and understanding best practices. And once I learned it, there's no better way than teaching it to get it back. So I ventured into teaching back in the 2000s, early 2000s. So it's been around 25 years that I'm teaching, and it's always been part of my profession. I have been involved with a lot of people, a lot of associations, especially PMI, the Project Management Institute, with regards to the kind of subjects and frameworks that they bought. And I think it's going well. And one of the reasons that we incorporated Red Learning was to really create a difference in this area of professional education. People like me who come from a very technical background, wants to move into the management side of things, needs to understand a few subjects. Of course, we're not here to replace the MBAs of the world, but it's about giving them professional education in their field of work that allows them to upskill and move to the next level.
What did you say that's actually different from Red Learning and the rest of the institutions? Are we bringing forward exam preparations? Is it a PMP institution? Are we just PMI, ATPs, or what is Red Learning all about?
I think we'd like to call ourselves a bit of a disruptor, because when we talk about education, especially professional education, we are addressing people who are already part of the industry. So they already are aware of the way things happen in their office. And we're just giving them a structure and a layout of best practices from probably the best associations in the world. What I feel is deficient in many, many educational sectors is that we just go into an exam prep, or we just go into fundamentally just reading from certain standards and principles, rather than teaching the students on how to apply these principles in real world projects and applications. So I feel that's the gap we are trying to fill.
How do you teach these students to apply them in real world situations, or how do we go about that?
I think me and my faculty team, we are very keen on just bringing in real-time case studies. So I would always talk about my experience. I would always talk about the kind of, domains that we come from, the challenges that we felt, if you say projects around our domains. But what I found very well in most students was the lack of definitions and understanding of definitions. And that for me was quite an eye-opener when I started teaching. And I felt that I was mostly teaching them a language rather than rather than the subject itself. And kind of resonated with me because at some point in my career I was not able to speak the language myself. So I guess when we teach, to answer your question, it's about how do we bring the best practices in a very easy manner that people can really resonate and understand.
All right.
For example, the Middle East is a amalgamation of so many cultures, and so how do you come up with a common language? How do we talk to each other?
Exactly.
How does a person from this side of the world talk to a person from the other side of the world? What kind of education are we bringing in? And how do we create that common language is what we're trying to do. And most of our subjects are niche. We try to bring in subjects that are really important for the student, subjects that they can take back to their industry tomorrow morning. So
Right.
if you're into engineering and construction, we have subjects like FIDIC that not many institutes teach. Very, very connected to day-to-day work. When it comes to quality, we have Six Sigmas, again, process improvement methodologies, contracts, we have human resources. So it just allows students to kind of take back something to their organization. So if they study something on a Sunday, they can apply it on a Monday. That's the whole point.
That's the dream.
That's how we want to put it. That's how we
Yeah.
want to take it further. That's how we want to apply it. And that's the value of education, especially in a professional space. We feel that if they're not able to, bring the subject into life, back into their organizations, I don't think it's going to work.
Right.
Because students are not here to study because they want to get another job. Most of the students who want to study want to make their current jobs better. They want
Right.
to make a difference in their current occupation. Of course, there's always the opportunity once you get certified and having the credentials, but I think what they really want to do is bring a change to
Get
the kind
better
of
at what
work.
they're already in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you've worked with many professionals, different industries, like you've got construction, you've got
City development.
city development, all of these stuff, right? Do you see these professionals actually feeling stuck when they come to you?
Not really. I guess I feel that once they do their basic graduations and all of that, and once they've started their career, there's a huge gap between what they have studied and what they will study. So, for example, somebody is a 35-year-old professional. He's probably completed his graduation around, when he's 22, 23. And then they haven't really upskilled
Right.
much after that. Suddenly they feel that others are catching up. They're stuck in their careers, not in a way that they can't move to the next level, or they're struggling to move to the next level. And then
It's
they
like a
realize
plateau that they hit.
probably a plateau, probably because you invest in everything. You invest in your health, you invest in your dreams, you invest in your everything,
Right.
in your family. But the only two things that you can invest in yourself is health and education.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to it. As much as we give importance to health, I don't think we give importance to education. We feel that once we've completed our basic grads and MBAs, that's the end of it.
Yeah.
You don't really upskill unless something like an AI comes into the whole business and we all start feeling, oh, we should catch up on that. But AI is not the only thing. There are so many other subjects that we need to understand and gather, because these are daily subjects. These are things that we work on daily. These are things that we kind of look up to. So I believe that students do feel a bit stuck up. And probably that's because they haven't really upskilled themselves over time. I mean, if you think about one of the most common statements I make to my students is, how many of them have learned Arabic? Having been in the country for 15 to 20 years, have you really taken the effort to learning the local language? Because maybe that is the one thing that could have made a change in your career more than any of these technical certifications. Why did we not do it? What stops you from doing it? You know, and I feel that's the pain that they go through, and the realization hits them after a long time.
Yeah, makes sense.
You know, and then when the realization finally hits them, maybe they feel they're too old to now get back to education.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, so many of these students or working professionals, right? I think they would go, like, right after that degree, they would go straight into a job.
Correct.
And after that, they wouldn't, get into upskilling again. And then totally forget about getting an MBA or anything, because it's not even a possibility, right?
Correct. And more importantly, we should differentiate between academia and professional certifications.
Right.
Academia means you've got to get back to college. So even if you're doing an MBA, you know, I know there's distance educations and all of that, but academic subjects means that you have to go back into the education system, you have to spend time, there's assignments, there's research, there's all of that. Professional certifications are meant for working professions.
Yeah.
They're aligned in a way that, you know, you can find some space to fit it through. They don't teach you, they just upskill you to what you already know or to take you to the next level. And I feel that that's probably the gap that they are looking at.
Right. And as most people also, right after a degree or an MBA, they never think about upskilling again.
Correct.
Right? It's not even 90% of the people don't. Right?
It's only when a challenge hits them.
Yeah.
Like there's a job loss,
A risk.
or
A risk of losing their job.
something.
Or younger crowd is coming back in and they see that their job is slipping off their fingers.
Correct. And that's where I feel the challenge is, that once they face a problem, then they realize that, oops, I should have done this a long time ago. It's never too late.
Yeah.
We've had very senior professionals come back. We've seen very senior professionals upskill, which is great, even in today's world. But I always felt that there is a regret in a student saying that, okay, you know, I should have done this a long time ago. It would have made, I mean, for me personally, I would say that, you know, if I had studied contracts management better during my time as a project manager, it would have made such a huge difference in my way of thinking. Probably when I teach it today, I kind of regret it myself, you know, and I see that with a lot of other professionals as well.
Okay. So yeah, you do also get a lot of students. Obviously, I've seen the students that we have. We get a lot of students who are well experienced.
Correct.
Right? They are really experienced.
Correct.
How do you teach these people who have, 15 years of experience, 20 years of experience? You know, they are not really, they don't really know what's going on in the field right now.
Correct.
Right. How do you teach these students?
I think with senior professionals, it's more unlearning than learning. Because these kind of professionals, they're so cultured into a particular organization or in a particular methodology that they honestly believe that that's probably what works, because it's been working for them for like 20 years.
Right.
So how do you get them back into saying, no, there's a better way to do it and there's a better methodology to pull it off? I feel that, I've had challenges with a lot of senior professionals who've told me, no, I don't think it works and I'm happy the way it is. But then the market demands a certain credential. The market demands a certain common language. And that is why they come back to education. The problem with the countries in the Middle East is that we all come from so many different backgrounds.
Right.
If I were to ask you, what's your college that you graduated from? I probably would not know, even though we are both from the same country.
Exactly.
So imagine your manager who's from Egypt or from Jordan, they probably would not even understand, what's your college, what's your degree, how good your college is. So the only thing that works in a very diverse industry is accreditations and professional certifications, because that is global recognition.
Right.
So
right.
if you say that you're a PMP, I don't need to authenticate you. At least I know that you know the basics of project management. At least I know that you've gone through some level of training. I know that you've attempted an exam, and I know that you've gone through a process, because the process is very global. But if you say that you're from some college and some university back in India, probably in India it might work, because I may know you and I know the university, but it may not resonate with managers and other colleagues from other countries.
You hire a PMP certified person, you know what you're getting.
Correct. Or at least you can expect a certain element there, because you know that there's been an effort. Of course, there's been an effort in college education, but this is just that second level of global recognition that students want. And as you move from country to country, these kind of global recognition takes you there.
Right.
Rather than, you go to every country and you try to prove that your education has been worth it. So it's difficult.
Yeah, it is.
And probably I feel that when senior professionals try to join into another organization, that's where they face the challenge, or that's where, or another country, that's where these certifications create the gap for them to get the skills that they want.
When a student comes to Red Learning, right, do they walk out with a PMP certification? Is that what they walk out with? Or what can a student who comes to Red Learning expect to walk out with?
Well, first of all, I'd like to clarify that we are not a certification body. We are a training partner for many such associations. So we are a training partner for Council of Six Sigma, for Project Management Institute, for Qualify in the UK, FEDEC. So what it allows us to do is to train students to prepare them for the exams.
All right.
But we just went back and asked the question, are we only training them for the exams?
Right.
Or are we training them to go back and, perform in the professional world? Whether it's a student who's just getting into the industry or a senior professional that you spoke about, there must be some value add that we bring as a training partner. So what we did was, of course, we're teaching them exam prep courses, but we kind of brought in a certain degree of scenario-based teaching. We brought in a certain degree of practicality to the subject. So it's not just about what PMI says. It's not just about their framework. It's their framework plus our teaching. It's a combination of both these elements that kind of, gives the student something to walk away with. Right. Something that they can say, okay, I understood the topic. It's very difficult to break certain principles. I mean, there are subjects like program management, for example. If we break the principle of the subject in 30 minutes, then I think the whole class goes fine. But if we don't break the principle, then I don't think the class goes fine for a student, because the student struggles to really understand the subject, irrespective of how much you teach and how much they read. So sometimes there are subjects that need the principle to be broken. And I feel that's where training providers like us should invest in.
Right.
And that's what we do. That's what we work towards. And I think that's what we are trying to do.
All right. I think I'll wind it up with one more question, right?
Sure.
If somebody was listening to this podcast right now,
Correct.
They're feeling stuck, right? They're feeling invisible
Correct.
at work.
Correct.
Right? What would you tell that person to actually get out of that plateau, to start and grow?
I've always used an example in my class, which I probably say again. I think there are three kinds of employees. And I've always believed in this principle. They are the potatoes, the eggs, and the coffee beans. Potatoes are those employees who are very tough, who believe that they can make a huge change, and they walk into the organization believing that they will change the organization. But we forget that every organization is a pot of boiling water. It is pressure, it's hot, it's full of stress.
Right.
There's no organization which is not like that. Potatoes are those employees who fall into this organization, and the stress of the organization and the challenges of the organization stresses them out.
Just
They-
boil them up.
Just boils them up. They lose their momentum. They become pulpy. Then there are the eggs, kids who've just gotten, people who are so brittle, and
Fragile.
they're very fragile, and you touch them and they'll break. And then you walk into the organization and the organization toughens them up. They become strong, they become tough, and they become very, very strong. Coffee beans are probably the only type of employees who don't get affected too much by the state of the organization. They don't break, they don't become tough. But coffee beans are the only employees who probably are or have the ability to change the color of the organization.
Oh, that's a nice thought. Yeah.
And so I always tell my students, what do you want to be? Do you want to be the potato? Do you want to be the egg? Or do you want to be the coffee beans? So if you want to be the coffee beans, you have to learn to change the color. Leave a mark. So if you can't leave a mark, walk out. Or do something to yourself. Make yourself able to change the color. And that's what I always feel, that when you walk out, you've done something that has changed the color of the organization. So that's my given to the stakeholders.
I really like that analogy. That's something I've never heard before.
Yes, and I think it resonates with a lot of people, and I feel that that's how professionals should think and take their careers forward.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for being on Red Talks.
Thank you for having us, and wish you all the very best in your Red Talks. Thank you.
Thank you.